In 1538, a Venetian writer made the most powerful king in Europe send him a gold chain, just to stay quiet. His name was Pietro Aretino. He owned no land. He commanded no soldiers. He had no royal blood. And yet, kings paid him. Popes feared him. Painters begged for his praise. He did it with one weapon: words. Aretino understood something most people never learn. That respect is not given to the strong. It is given to those who control how others see them. He made himself feel dangerous to insult. He made his approval feel rare. And the most powerful men alive lined up to buy a feeling. Think about that. A man with nothing forced the richest people on earth to treat him like gold. Not because he had power, but because he understood it. Centuries later, a different man would study people like Aretino. He would read their letters. He would map their moves. And he would write the patterns down in a book that landed in prison cells, boardrooms, and recording studios around the world. His name was Robert Greene, transition or open loop. But to understand what Greene discovered, you have to understand the question that haunted him for years. The question hidden inside every story like Aretino's. The question nobody asks out loud. This names the central mystery and frames it as something the viewer secretly wants answered about their own life. It promises a hidden mechanism, not advice. Visual/audio, slow montage of faces in negative space. A handshake held a beat too long. A crowded room where everyone leans toward one calm figure. Ticking clock sound. Music. A single sustained string note rising slightly. Text fragments flash and vanish. Why him? Why not me? Voiceover. Here is something uncomfortable. Two people walk into the same room. Same clothes, same job, same words. One gets ignored. The other gets obeyed. Why? We like to believe respect is earned through hard work and good character. That if you are kind and competent, people will value you. But Robert Greene noticed the opposite happening over and over across 500 years of history. The kind ones got used. The honest ones got passed over. And the people who rose to the top often broke every rule we are taught to follow. So Greene asked a darker question. What if respect is not earned at all, but engineered? What if value is something people decide about you in seconds, based on signals you do not even know you are sending? This is the part that disturbs people. Because if respect can be manufactured, then most of us have been doing it backwards our whole lives. We chase approval. We explain ourselves. We make ourselves available, agreeable, easy to reach. And the more we do it, the less we are respected. Greene believed there was a hidden law underneath all of it, a law of value. And the people who understood it could bend rooms, careers, and entire crowds to their will. Transition or open loop. To see how that law works, we have to go back to the world Greene came from, a world that taught him exactly how worthless a man can be made to feel. The world. That broke him first. A real biographical turn gives the abstract idea a human spine. The viewer learns Greene was a failure for decades, which makes his later insight feel earned and dangerous. Visual/audio, grainy 1980s footage, textures, empty offices at night, a typewriter, a bus window streaked with rain, faded warm tones turning grey, sound design, distant office chatter, a phone ringing unanswered, music, melancholy piano, sparse, voiceover. Before the books, before the fame, Robert Greene was nobody. He worked nearly 80 jobs. 80. He wrote in Hollywood and got pushed aside. He worked in magazines and watched lesser talents get promoted. He drifted through cities, broke, frustrated, invisible. By his late 30s, he had nothing to show for his intelligence. And he was intelligent. That was the wound. He watched the room every time. And every time, he saw the same thing. The people who got ahead were not the smartest. They were the ones who understood the game. They knew when to speak and when to vanish. They knew how to make people want their attention. They treated their own presence like something valuable. So others did too. Greene felt invisible because he had made himself easy to ignore. He explained too much. He gave too freely. He waited to be chosen. And the world, he learned, does not choose the people who wait. This is the quiet cruelty behind respect. It does not reward your suffering. It does not notice your effort. It responds to perception and almost nothing else. Greene sat with that bitterness for years. Then one day, a publisher asked him a simple question that would change his life. What did he actually know about power? Transition or open loop? His answer would become a banned book in prisons and a Bible in penthouses. But first, Greene had to face the first crack in everything he believed about being a good person. The first crack. This is the philosophical hinge. The viewer must feel the discomfort of letting go of be a good person as a strategy. We frame morality and perception as two different machines, which hooks the viewer into questioning their own niceness. Visual/audio. A single chess piece standing alone on an empty board. Slow rotation. Then a hand enters frame and quietly removes it. Cut to black and white footage of crowds moving past a still figure. Light flickering like a film projector. Sound, a heartbeat, slow and steady. Music, low, tense strings holding one chord, refusing to resolve. Voiceover. The first crack was this. Greene realized that being good and being respected are two completely different skills. We are taught they are the same. Be honest, be generous, be humble, and the world will reward you. But Greene had lived the opposite. He had been honest and watched liars rise. He had been generous and watched people take and forget him. He had been humble and become invisible. So he made a quiet, dangerous separation in his mind. Morality was one thing. Power was another. And the people who confused the two stayed weak their whole lives. This is not about becoming evil. Greene was careful here, and so are we. It is about seeing clearly, because here is the uncomfortable truth. Your goodness is invisible until people decide you matter. You can be the kindest person alive, but if you signal that your time is cheap, your kindness reads as weakness. People do not respond to who you are. They respond to who they think you are. Greene started studying the great figures of history not as heroes or villains, but as players. He watched how they moved, and he noticed a pattern that repeated across every century. The respected ones controlled access to themselves. They did not chase. They did not over-explain. They did not flood the room with their presence. They held back. They created a small distance. And in that distance, people projected value. It felt almost like a trick of the mind. Withhold a little, and people lean in. Give everything, and people walk away. Greene had spent his life giving everything, and now he understood why no one leaned in. Transition or open, loop. But understanding the problem was not the same as having the law. And the law Greene was about to uncover would sound at first like the cruelest idea he had ever written, the law of scarcity. This delivers the first concrete law payoff after long build-up. The scarcity principle is named plainly and tied back to Aretino, closing the opening loop while opening a bigger one about how to apply it. Visual/audio. Close-up of water dripping slowly from a tap into a near-empty glass. Then a flood of water rushing, overflowing, wasted. Cut to gold coins counted one at a time. Renaissance painting of Aretino returns, now lit warmer, almost smiling. Music. The held string chord finally resolves into a single confident note. Voiceover. The law was simple, and it frightened him. The less available you make yourself, the more valuable you become. Greene saw it everywhere. The painter who made kings wait. The advisor who spoke rarely, so every word landed like a verdict. The leader who left a room before people wanted them to. Scarcity creates value. It is the oldest law of markets, and it works on human beings exactly the same way. Think back to Aretino. He did not flatter the powerful. He withheld his approval, rationed it, made it rare. And because it was rare, men paid gold to receive it. What is abundant is ignored. Water is everywhere, so it is free. Gold is scarce, so it is treasured. And a person who is always available, always agreeable, always there, becomes water. This is why your effort is not enough. The harder you chase, the more abundant you make yourself, and the cheaper you become. In the eyes of the very people you are trying to impress. Greene wrote it down coldly. Presence diminishes you. Absence increases you. It sounds manipulative, but Greene argued it was simply the truth no one wanted to say out loud. We are all running calculations about each other constantly. The question is whether you control the signals or let them control you. Transition or open loop. And yet, scarcity alone was only half the equation, because Greene discovered that the most powerful figures in history did something far stranger than simply pulling away. The art of selective presence. This deepens the scarcity law into something counterintuitive, that the powerful don't simply disappear, they appear strategically. The viewer learns the rhythm of presence and absence, which keeps them invested in mastering timing rather than just withdrawing. A metronome ticking in dim light, swinging hypnotically. Cut to a candle being lit in a dark hall, then deliberately snuffed, then lit again. Footage of a single spotlight finding one figure in a crowd, then going dark. Music. Low pulse with a rising, patient swell. Voiceover. Greene noticed the strangeness almost by accident. The most powerful figures did not simply vanish. That would make them forgotten. Instead, they mastered something more subtle. They controlled the rhythm of their appearance. They were absent long enough to be missed, and present at the exact moment it mattered most. Think of the rare guest who arrives, late, stays briefly, and leaves while the night is still good. People remember them more than anyone who stayed until the lights came on. Greene called this selective presence, not hiding, not chasing, timing. He studied courtiers who understood that one perfectly chosen word, spoken at the right hour, outweighed 1,000 words spilled carelessly across a week. They saved themselves. They waited. And when they finally moved, the room turned. This is the part people miss. Scarcity is not coldness. It is precision. The absent figure who returns at the perfect moment feels almost magnetic, because their presence now carries weight that constant availability strips away. Greene realized he had done the opposite his entire life. He had shown up fully, always, exhausting his value before anyone learned to want it. He had been a candle that never went out, and so no one noticed its light. The lesson cut deep. You are not measured by how often you appear. You are measured by what your appearance is worth when it comes. Transition or open loop. But timing was a tool, not a foundation, and beneath all of it, Greene found a force darker and more useful than scarcity, the strange power of being slightly unknowable. 15, 0, 17, 30, the power of mystery. This introduces mystery as the emotional engine behind scarcity, giving the viewer a psychological why. It frames, over-explaining as the great mistake, hooking anyone who has ever talked too much, justified too much, or revealed too soon. Visual/audio. A face half in shadow, only the eyes visible. A letter being folded and sealed with wax, its contents unseen. Smoke curling slowly upward, dissolving before it fully forms. Cut to a crowd, leaning forward, straining to hear a voice that has gone quiet. Music, hushed, intimate strings, almost a whisper. Voiceover. Greene discovered that scarcity worked because of something underneath it. Mystery. People are not drawn to what they fully understand. They are drawn to what they cannot quite explain. The moment you become completely predictable, completely readable, completely known, you lose your grip on the imagination. And imagination is where power lives. Greene saw it in every figure who haunted history. They left gaps. They did not narrate their every thought. They let silence do work that words could never do. And in those silences, people filled the empty space with their own fascination. He called it the great mistake of the week. They explain themselves to death. They justify, clarify, confess, hoping that if people only understood them fully, they would finally be respected. But understanding is not respect. Often it is the end of it. The person who reveals everything hands others a complete map. And a complete map is easy to fold up and put away. The person who reveals a little keeps others wandering, returning. This was uncomfortable for Greene because he loved truth. He loved clarity, but he forced himself to see it. A little withholding is not dishonesty. It is the difference between a closed door and an open one. People press against closed doors. They walk past open ones without a glance. He began to ration his words, to answer less, to let questions hang. And he watched, almost amazed, as people leaned in toward the man they could no longer fully read. Transition or open loop. Yet mystery and scarcity could make a person admired from a distance. To turn that distance into true command, Greene needed one final, more dangerous ingredient: the weight of silence. This caps the trilogy of laws by converting them into action through silence. The most practical, immediately usable tool. It reframes restraint as strength and primes the viewer to test it in their own life. Deepening personal. Stakes. Visual/audio. A long table where everyone speaks except one still figure at its head. Slow push-in on closed lips, a pendulum coming to rest, then total silence on the audio track for one held beat before a single deep note lands. Music. Minimal, weighty, spacious. Voiceover. The final ingredient was the one Greene feared most. Silence. Not the silence of fear. The silence of control. He noticed that the most powerful figures in any room were often the ones who said the least. While others competed to fill the air, they sat still. And that stillness pulled the entire room toward them. Silence forces others to reveal themselves. The nervous talk. The insecure explain. The desperate fill every pause, and the silent one watches it all, learning, gathering, giving nothing away. Greene understood now why his own words had always cost him. He had used speech to seek approval. Every sentence was a small plea to be liked. And people sense that hunger instantly. It cheapens everything you say. But the person who can sit comfortably in silence signals something rare. That they do not need your reaction. That they are complete without your approval. And nothing draws people closer than someone who does not need them. Greene began to practice it deliberately. A pause before answering. A refusal to rush into the gap. He let questions land and breathe. And he watched the strange power it created. People filled his silences with respect they could not explain. This was the moment everything connected. Scarcity made him valuable. Timing made him magnetic. Mystery made him fascinating. And silence made him untouchable. He was no longer the man chasing the room. The room was beginning to chase him. Transition or open loop. But Greene knew these laws carried a price. And the deeper he went, the closer he came to a question he could no longer avoid. What does a person lose when they finally learn how to win? The price of power. This delivers the emotional reckoning the audience has been waiting for, exposing the cost behind every law. It validates the viewer's quiet fear that mastery has a shadow, deepening trust, and keeping them locked in for the resolution. Visual/audio. A man alone in a vast, beautifully furnished room. Empty chairs. A single lamp. His reflection in a darkened window, slightly out of focus. Then a hand reaching toward a phone that never rings. Music. Low cello. Mournful. Restrained. Voiceover. But every law Greene mastered demanded payment. And the bill always came quietly, in private, when no one was watching. He had learned to withhold, to ration his presence, to let silence do his speaking. And it worked. The room turned toward him now. People leaned in. They wondered. They returned. But the same walls that made him powerful also made him alone. Because the man who never reveals himself is never truly known. And a person who is never known is never fully loved. Greene had traded intimacy for influence, and at first the trade felt brilliant. Then came the long evenings, the respect that filled the room but never followed him home, the admiration that warmed his name and left his life cold. He saw the cruel symmetry of it. The very distance that drew people toward him kept them from ever reaching him. He had built a fortress so perfect that no one could enter, including the few he might have wanted inside. This is the part the manuals never confess. Power isolates. The mask, worn long enough, fuses to the face, and one day you reach to remove it and find there is nothing underneath but the role you have played. Greene had won the room, but he was beginning to suspect he had lost something he could not name. Transition or open. Loop. And so he faced the question that waits for everyone who learns to command others. Whether the self that wins is the same self that started the climb. The man behind the mask. This is the philosophical climax, forcing the viewer to confront their own ambition. It transforms a power lecture into a mirror, maximizing emotional resonance and shareability before the final beat. Visual/audio. Slow dissolve between two faces. The same man, younger and open, then older and guarded. A mask lifted slightly, revealing tired eyes. Candlelight flickering against stone. Music. A single piano note, repeating. Fragile. Voiceover. Greene came to understand that mastery changes the master. You do not learn these laws and stay the same. You become someone who calculates, someone who measures every word for its weight, every silence for its effect. The instincts that once made you warm now make you watchful. There is power in that, but there is also a quiet death. He realized the hardest truth of all. The laws are not evil. They are simply mirrors. They show you what you are willing to become, to get what you think you want. Some people pick them up and grow sharper, stronger, freer. Others pick them up and lose the very softness that made their life worth winning. Greene's final wisdom was not a law at all. It was a warning. Use the mask, but never forget the face beneath it. Wield the silence, but keep one person to whom you still speak the truth. Master timing, but do not time the people who love you, because power is only worth having if there remains a self to enjoy it. And the saddest figure in history is not the one who never gained command. It is the one who gained everything and arrived at the summit alone, with no one left who knew his name. When the mask came down. Transition slash. And that left one final question, the one Greene could never fully answer for himself, the final reckoning. The closing 60 seconds. A haunting thought, a direct open-loop question to trigger comments, and a dark thematic call to action that fits the tone and converts viewers into followers. The candle finally extinguished by an unseen breath. Smoke rising into total black. A single eye, then darkness. Silence on the track for 2 full seconds. Then one final deep note, fading slowly to nothing. Voiceover. So here is the thought that follows everyone who walks this path. You can learn to be feared. You can learn to be admired. You can learn to make the whole room turn toward you and wonder. But somewhere in that mastery, a quiet question waits. The one Greene asked himself in the dark, long after the room had emptied and the applause had died. Did I gain power, or did power gain me? Because the laws do not care who wins. They only ask what you are willing to trade, and by the time you know the price, you have usually already paid it. So before you reach for it, the mask, before you ration your words, choose your silences, master your timing. Ask yourself the only question that matters. If you became untouchable, would there be anyone left you wanted to touch? But what would you have done? Chosen the power or kept the connection? Tell me below. I read every answer. And if you seek the truths most people are too afraid to face, follow. The next story goes somewhere darker. Transition or open loop. Because the next law Greene uncovered was the one he begged himself never to use. YouTube title, The Dark Price of Power, Why Mastery Always Comes Alone. YouTube description, Robert Greene mastered the laws of power, scarcity, mystery, timing, and silence. He learned to make any room turn toward him. But every law demanded a hidden price. This is the story of what a person truly loses when they finally learn how to win. A psychological deep dive into presence, restraint, and the quiet cost of command. Chapters 0. The Rhythm of Appearance 15. 0. The Power of Mystery 17. 30. The Weight of Silence 20. 0. The Price of Power 22. 30. The Man Behind the Mask 24. 30. The Final Reckoning. If you seek the truths most people avoid, follow. The next story goes deeper. YouTube tags. Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, Psychology, The Power of Silence, Mystery, and Attraction, Scarcity Principle, Dark Psychology, Self-Mastery, Stoicism, Human Behavior, Social Power, Charisma Secrets, The Mask of Power, Manipulation Tactics, Psychology of Influence Shorts Hooks. 1. Understanding is not respect. Often it is the end of it. 2. The mask, worn long enough, fuses to the face. 3. You don't learn these laws and stay the same. 4. Did I gain power, or did power gain me? 5. If you became untouchable, would anyone be left to touch?